just pointing out as well, before we get to that President Moon Jae-in's helicopter is about to land, so we'll cover any comments he has to make before he gets on the plane. So here comes President Moon Jae-in and First Lady Kim Jong-suk. Big smile on his face, probably inside contemplating what's going to happen over the next few days, but he certainly looks confident walking out onto the plane. You can see him with his Chief of Staff there and other chief aides and his National Security Advisor Jung along for the ride as well. It's a nice day for a trip to Pyongyang, and we're looking forward to seeing the hopefully a productive and constructive summit between the leaders of the two Koreas, because this really is a crossroads in the process of hopefully reducing tensions once and for all, and even hopefully denuclearizing the Korean Peninsula. Meeting before they head off to the summit. If you're just flicking through the channels, you are watching the summit. It's day one. President Moon Jae-in there is about to board the plane at Seoul Airport for the trip to North Korea. And he's joined by some political party leaders as well, Jung-i, but those right of center have decided they didn't want to accept the president's invitation.
Political parties were actually, well, South Korean presidential office offered invitation to the political parties in South Korea, but they were split in terms of accepting that invitation. And now we are seeing three heads of three political parties joining trip with South Korean President Moon Jae-in. And those are the ruling Democratic Party and the Liberal Progressive Justice Party, and the Democratic Peace Party, of course.
And the main opposition, Liberty Korea Party and the Bareunmirae Party, turned down the invitation that was sent by President Moon. So we are about to see the South Korean leader get on the plane for this big trip. He's saying his goodbyes to everyone boarding the plane on what is going to be a momentous, a remarkable occasion for the two Koreas. And we thank you very much for tuning in to Arirang to watch this slice of history unfold. And on the First Ladies there, we see Kim Jong-suk, President Moon Jae-in's wife of many years. She'll be meeting with Ri Sol-ju, who is Kim Jong-un's wife. There's a 35-year age difference between the two ladies, but they do share the same passion for music. A lot is hanging on this summit, as we've been talking about. Jung-i, before we see President Moon get off the jet, let's just give an update on what's the schedule for President Moon and his delegation today, if you wouldn't mind, while we have a couple of minutes here.
Right, so at around 10 a.m., so that's about now, President Moon will be arriving at SUNAN. He will be landing at, he is landing at SUNAN International Airport in Pyongyang. And after an official welcoming ceremony, there's going to be a luncheon, but we have no idea who's going to participate, who's going to take part in that luncheon. And in the afternoon, the first meeting between the first round of the summit meeting, actually, between North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and South Korean President Moon Jae-in will take place. And while that meeting takes place, South Korea's special delegates will be meeting with Kim Yong-nam, who's the head of North Korea's Supreme People's Assembly. It's the parliamentary body in North Korea. And the business leaders will be meeting with the Vice Premier of North Korea, Ri Ryong-nam, who's in charge of the North's economy. It's known that he's a person who acts like a control tower to come up with economic policy. So definitely we will be able to see some discussions on economic cooperation take place between the business leaders and the vice premier. After that, in the late afternoon, we expect South Korean president to watch an arts performance by North Korean art troops, but we don't know what sort of performance it's going to be. And in the evening, we also have a welcoming dinner, but about this too, we don't have any idea which of North Korean officials will be participating at this welcoming dinner. So we're seeing the live coverage, we're seeing the live footage from Pyongyang's SUNAN International Airport. This is the first time an Inter-Korean summit, actually the major scenes of, some significant scenes of Inter-Korean summit being live broadcast. So yeah, I think the President is going to appear.
Well, we can see the North Korean crowd is starting to warm up a touch, still relatively subdued, but I'm sure they'll liven up once the officials start coming past. Quickly before President Moon gets off the plane, Professor Song, just walk us through one more time, if you wouldn't mind, what the two leaders of the two Koreas are planning to talk about during this summit, the main agenda items.
Then again, the spokesperson Yoon Young-chan kind of laid out in 3 bullet points. One is the exchanges that they could have in various areas between the North and South, and a more important item of denuclearization. What kind of commitment that North Korea can make that is palatable to the White House and which can continue the process of...
It's interesting to see there's no South Korean flag there, but there's the North Korean flag and the unification flag. We can see Kim Yong-nam is there on the far left of your screen.
We're also seeing Choi Ryong-hae and right, and we're also seeing Lee Sun-won, who's the head of North Korea's Committee for Reunification of the Fatherland. I mean, he's been the representative who led the North Korean delegation to the high-level talks between the two Koreas several times. He's the direct counterpart for South Korea's unification minister.
Yeah, whenever we see the two Koreas hold their working level talks, it's usually between Ri Son-gwon and South Korea's unification minister. Anything we can read into the officials we see there, Professor Song? Clearly they are among the highest, most senior level officials in the regime.
Clearly very high level, and it shows their willingness to lay down literally the red carpet, but also very high level welcome. I think that, as Chung-hee mentioned, that there must be reason why they keep showing the gate and the door.
Yeah,
somebody will emerge in a quite dramatic fashion.
Yeah, someone wearing a traditional Mao suit might emerge from that building, but we can only speculate on what's going to happen at the moment. But we're not going to have to wait that long. The plane is there, sat on the tarmac. I'm sure waiting there, people are eager to get off and get their first taste, for many of them at least, their first taste of a warm Pyongyang welcome. So the crowd there.
They're here.
Okay, there we see the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un coming out.
Yeah, so North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, we can confirm, is at the airport to personally greet President Moon Jae-in on the tarmac of this airport And
he's coming out along with his wife, Lee Sol-ju, the first lady of North Korea.
It's amazing how quickly the crowd went from rather subdued to being in such high spirits, but that's to be expected.
They were very calm.
Yes. But this, I'm sure, will go into propaganda roles in the regime's state-run television broadcasts. It's another way Kim Jong-un can legitimize his control over the regime, inviting the leader of South Korea to his country. He's walking along, strolling along, looking very confident and comfortable. As Jung-Yi touched upon the first time, he looked slightly unnerved, unsure of himself. The first time he walked across the DMZ for their first summit back in April. But this is his city, this is his home country, so I'm sure he feels much more comfortable here. We're seeing people shake the flowers. It's kind of reminiscent of the scenes we saw when Roh Moo-hyun and Kim Dae-jung had their respective summits with then North Korean leader Kim Jong-il. Professor Song, looking at this, what's your first impressions?
Well, it's only fitting that he appears and be the first one to greet the President Moon Jae-in. It speaks to the importance of this meeting, and it speaks to his emphasis on optics of showing the two leaders standing together with a warm embrace, so to speak, and touching, starting this historic visit.
So just like his father in 2000, it seems Kim Jong-un decided to welcome the South Korean president who's coming to Pyongyang via the airport. Now they're hugging,
warm embrace. They do look genuinely pleased to see each other again. Last time they saw each other was back in May, so going on 4 months. Ri Sol-ju and the South Korean First Lady as well engaged in a warm conversation, smiles all round, very cordial, and everyone seems to be on good terms ahead of what is likely to be a big summit. But at least at this current time, it's smiles all round. We don't know what Kim Jong-un is thinking about, but it's nice to see that the two Koreas are at this point together where we can see these warm scenes between the leaders of the two Koreas.
And North Korean children delivering flower to the first couple.
This is the first time we've ever seen anything like this in 11 years, a South Korean leader coming to Pyongyang for an inter-Korean summit. The weather seems to have accommodated them as well. It seems like a lovely early autumn day there in Pyongyang. Lots of music going on, big smiles from Kim Jong-un's sister. They must have got to know each other fairly well during the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics when she was over for several days to watch that.
And she actually invited President Moon over to Pyongyang. She was sent there as a special envoy and delivered Kim Jong-un's invitation to President Moon Jae-in to visit Pyongyang, and now that happened.
Okay, so Jung-Yi, we're seeing him, President Moon Jae-in, meet with the top brass in the regime and military leaders. We can go down the line there. That really is the who's who of the North Korean leadership. The trusted inner circle of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un.
Right, so it seems he's been greeted, it seems he's been greeted by the top military officials, possibly the chief of the general staff of the North Korean army and the defense minister. And now the North Korean leader is greeting the South Korean officials, the foreign minister, defense minister, the land and transport minister, and the maritime affairs minister. Yeah,
we must remember that these officials have met each other before, the vast majority of them anyway, since the last meeting was only 4 and a bit months ago.
Right, so shaking hands with the National Intelligence Agency chief as well, and the cultural minister, and some of the top officials from the presidential office, such as the spokesperson and people in charge of the protocol.
Well, it seems as though everyone is being very gracious and good-natured, and let's listen in to see if we hear anything.
So it seems the two leaders are going to inspect the honor guards at the airport. They've been ready for the past, I don't know, nearly an hour.
Watched a bit of the honor guard. They're a little bit different to how it was in Pyeongyang back in April, but a very warm welcome. The red carpet has been rolled out for the South Korean leader, and it seems as though this meeting is off to a good start. Professor Song, do you think that President Moon Jae-in is absolutely aware of, down to the finest details, every detail about this trip? Can you see any way in which it hasn't been agreed that North Korea must not divert from the official schedule?
Remember that the details about the schedule has not been hammered out until the last minute, so I'm sure there are a lot of
but
scurrying around.
He won't want to be put into any embarrassing situations.
No, I don't think so. I think he'll handle it well. If anything, they have developed this personal chemistry.
Yeah.
So I think that if it comes to that, they'll wing it pretty well.
Right. Well, we saw in the Pyeongyang summit when they took that walk along the bridge and sat down on the bench, Jung-I, and they had that long conversation for about 40 minutes. There is some talk that potentially something like that may happen again in Pyongyang. There is an area in Pyongyang, if I'm correct in saying, where the two leaders might look to get away from prying eyes and ears to have a one-on-one chat. They have plenty to talk about.
Right, so a potential place for that is the PAEKHWAWON State Guest House. It's where the previous presidents who visited Pyongyang also stayed and had their summits with the North Korean leader Kim Jong-il. President Moon is expected to be staying there as well. And according to what we've been learning, that there is a spot within that guest house where, you know, there's a forest and the Taedonggang River also flows alongside the guest house, and there's a large lake. And there's also, you know, some, pathways where people could actually walk along. So, you know, this could be a spot that's pretty similar to the spot in the Panmunjom at the demilitarized zone that we saw on April 27th, where the two leaders could actually stop by and chat with each other for, I don't know, more than 30 minutes or nearly 40 minutes.
Professor Song, you look like you wanted to jump in there.
Well, I'm just looking at the picture of this top brass of these two countries at the same time. Not just the top leaders, but those people who will be hammering out the details. And certainly I'm seeing all the major participants are there. We didn't see it right now, but of course we saw the businessmen also. So not only the official delegate, but also the private sector as well. So potentially, they have all the major players in one place.
Well, as journalists, we do try and depict the chemistry between the leaders from the videos we see on screen, but it does genuinely seem as though both men feel comfortable in each other's company. Two men so different in many ways, but there are still plenty of smiles and a bit of laughter as well. Just a reminder, if you are joining us, you're watching the ongoing coverage we have here on South Korea's international broadcaster Arirang TV of the 2018 Inter-Korean Pyongyang Summit between South Korean President Moon Jae-in and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. This is the third time they're meeting in 2018, and they are getting a magnificent response now. The crowd has really woken up, and they're going delirious, seeing and meeting with President Moon Jae-in and, of course, their dear leader, Kim Jong-un. Quite remarkable scenes, wouldn't you agree?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, true to his form, he's the people's president, and he didn't forget to shake hands with them.
Well,
road.
we must remember that President Moon Jae-in is the son of North Korean refugees, so he has an affinity for the country and wants to do his best to bring peace to the region after several years of conservative, hardline administrations here in South Korea, where the relations between the two Koreas fell apart quite badly.
Right.
So, stunning turnaround.
Right. No matter what happens in his presidency, this is quite possibly the moment where his greatest legacy could be born.
Yeah, we're watching perhaps the keystone, the most symbolic moment of his presidency here. This is footage we're watching now that will live on for many, many years to come. It's quite extraordinary. Before his arrival, I was expecting a degree of cheering, but I actually am quite surprised by the level of joyous scenes we're witnessing here. Everyone's beaming, crying, laughing, having a wonderful time, shaking their flowers in the air. Jung-gi, and we're about to see President Moon Jae-in get into a motor vehicle, part of a motorcade, where he'll be whisked away into the center of Pyongyang. This is an airport, of course, it won't be that close to the city center.
Are they in the same vehicle? We missed the scene. Are they in the same vehicle?
If someone can confirm whether they're in the same vehicle, you would imagine that they would be in the same vehicle. But
right. We're still not sure if they got into the same vehicle, but...
Well, I'm sure someone will confirm that to us shortly. It appears they're in a closed roofed car. We can't say whether that's convertible or anything, whether they're going to be lifting down the top as they cruise through the streets of Pyongyang whenever they start arriving there. And looks like President Moon Jae-in, one final wave to the crowd there as they say goodbye.
So the vehicle is now moving, it's leaving the Pyeongyang SUNAN International Airport, and it's heading towards the PAEKHWAWON State Guest House, which will be where the South Korean president will be staying. And after that, it's expected the South Korean officials will have a luncheon.
The cars are approaching. We're going to see the leaders of the two Koreas get out of their separate cars and enter the building. We'll see if they have anything to say, or whether it will just be a handshake and then down to business over a spot of lunch and the summit talks. But let's let the pictures speak for themselves for a while, and if our Unification Ministry correspondent Oh Jung-gi or our professor who's joining us today, Song Se-ryun, wants to chip in and offer any insights, you're more than welcome. Oh, it looks as though
they're together.
They are together. We don't know whether they changed cars on the way there, but they are now in the same car. So that's rather surprising, but hopefully they had a chance to
have a very candid
have a
conversation.
candid conversation without people listening in.
So they got down to business literally
Right away.
Time is of the essence when such important factors are at play.
We're seeing the first ladies of South and North Korea enter the building.
One might presume that they were in the same vehicle. I didn't catch that, but that's something you might expect.
We weren't able to see if they were in the same car, but we assume they could have been.